Blocks and a pillow might be nice. Have a seat and just have your blocks, if you're using them, within reach. Start by dropping your chin forward and then rolling your chin up towards your right shoulder. And you can continue in an arc, so drawing a circle with your chin, or if that doesn't work, if drawing circles with your neck doesn't work, you could drop it back down and then drop it back up, raise it back up to your other shoulder. So either drawing these kind of little arcs or smileys with your chin, or drawing sort of circles. But moving slowly and just sort of starting to notice what's going on in your neck and your shoulders. And you could start to deepen your breath here a little bit. And notice if there's tension. And if you're drawing circles, you could reverse the circles now. Try rolling your head in the opposite direction. And again, don't force anything here. So you're just looking for kind of a gentle movement, just to see what's going on. And then once you've done that a couple of times and you have a sense of what is going on in your neck, pause. And if you have a block, grab your block. And if you don't have a block, you can just use the palm of your hand for this. So either the block or the palm of your hand, bring it to the side of your head, either side, and start pressing the block gently into your head and pressing your head gently into the block. So you're actually creating a little bit of tension here. And take a few breaths as you're doing this. So you don't have to force it. It doesn't have to be really hard, but just a little bit of gentle tension. And then release that and try it on the other side. Same thing, just gently pressing the block into your head and your head into the block, or your palm into your head and your head into your palm. And then release that and try the same thing with your forehead. So just a little bit of gentle pressure. Release that, and then do the same thing on the back of your head. Let that go. Set your block aside, and then try just a couple more of those either little arcs with your neck or circles. And just notice if it feels any different now. It might not. Sometimes creating a little bit of tension helps us soften a little, and sometimes it doesn't. So just notice what's true for you. And once you've done that a few times, you can come back to center and make your way down onto your back. And if you have blocks, make sure those are within reach. So once you're down on your back, bring the soles of your feet to the ground with your knees bent. You can do anything you want with your hands and arms. And then bring your attention to your hips and your pelvis. So your pelvis is lying on the ground, your hips are lying on the ground. And then bring a little bit of an arch into your low back. So you're tilting your pelvis forward a little bit. And then drop it down and tilt it in the opposite direction. So you're tucking your tail a little bit. And then drop that down and try moving between arching your back a little bit, dropping it down, and then tilting your pelvis in the opposite direction to tuck your tail. So just slowly and gently try that a few times and notice what your low back feels like. And once you've tried it a few times, if you have a block, grab your block and place that between your thighs on whatever setting feels comfortable. And bring your feet kind of right under your knees. Bring your arms along your sides. And then tuck your tail and slowly roll your spine up until your back is kind of one long line from your knees down to your shoulders. And once you're here in this bridge posture, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, think about squeezing your feet isometrically towards your body and notice if that makes it feel any different. So you're creating a little bit of tension there. And once you've done that, check in with your neck and your shoulders, maybe your jaw and your forehead, and see if any of those places could soften a little. Or is there anywhere else that could soften a little bit? See if it's possible to breathe with some ease. And then slowly roll your spine back down. And once you get to the bottom, you might add that little bit of a pelvic tilt where you arch your back. So you create that little space between the ground and your back. And then drop it back down and roll your spine back up. And once you get to the top, you could stay here if you like, or you might try rolling back down right away and continuing once you get to the bottom, tilting your pelvis and then dropping it down and rolling back up. So your choice. You might choose to hold this bridge posture, or you might choose to make it a slow, kind of steady movement. But whatever you're doing, take a minute or so to explore that and see how you can make it work for you. Take a few more seconds to finish that up. And once you have, you can set your block aside. And from here, place your right foot on the floor. Flex your left foot and bring your left ankle over your right knee. Start to press your left knee a little bit away from your body. Again, being gentle. And notice if you can feel anything in your left outer hip. And you can stay there if you want. Or you might consider lifting your right knee to any degree. And if you're doing that, you might hold it there, or you might thread your left hand through that space between your legs and then either interlace your hands behind your right hamstring or in front of your shin. This is Suchirandrasana. And essentially here, you're just looking for a stretch in your outer left hip. And if you are lifting your legs up, you might consider kind of rotating that right ankle a couple of times. So again, while you're here, just notice if there's anywhere that you're really kind of creating unnecessary tension. See if there's anywhere you can soften. And if it's useful, you might consider noticing your breath, making sure you're breathing pretty freely, pretty deeply. As you're ready, take your time releasing that. Bring both feet to the floor and then switch sides. So your left foot is down, flex your right foot, and bring your right ankle over your left knee. Start to press your right knee away from your body. Notice if you can feel anything in your hip, and then decide if you want to stay there or lift your leg up. Maybe you interlace your hands behind your hamstring or in front of your shin. You might notice if this side is any different. And if your legs are up, you might try circling your ankle a few times on that left leg. Whenever you're ready, you can release that. Bring both feet to the floor and then pull your left knee in to the extent that that works for you and straighten your right leg out. And just see what that feels like. You might move your knee around a little bit. And then if it works for you, keep your right hand on your left knee. Extend your left arm out to the side and twist your knee over to the side. So your left hip will come up off the floor and you'll be in a spinal twist here. And you can do anything you want with your neck. If it works for you, you might consider turning your head to look over your left shoulder. That's probably not going to work for everybody. Just check in and see if it works for you. If you know it won't, you don't even have to try. When you're ready, you can unwind, bring both feet to the floor, and then do the same thing on the other side. So pull your right knee in, extend your left leg out. And if you'd like to come into that twist, extend your right arm out on the floor and twist your right knee over towards the left, allowing your right hip to come up. Maybe try looking over your right shoulder. When you're ready, unwind. Bring both feet to the floor. Toe heel your feet out a little bit, and then drop your knees from side to side a couple of times at your own pace. Just a couple of windshield wipers. Even yourself out and bring your knees back to center. And then, if it works for you, pull your knees in towards your chest and start to send them out towards your armpits. Send your feet up so that your knees are bent, but your feet, the soles of your feet, are kind of aimed towards the ceiling. And then, if you would like to, you could have your hands behind your knees. You could have them somewhere along your shins, or you might try wrapping them around the soles of your feet. This is happy baby. Whatever version of this you're trying, make sure it's happy. And look for some softness here. So if wrapping your hands around your feet creates a whole bunch of tension and you can't feel softness anywhere, I would recommend letting go of your feet and bringing your hands down, maybe placing them around the backs of your thighs or even resting them on the floor. Again, you're looking for some softness here. And if you have a lot of ease in this posture, you might consider rocking back and forth a little bit if that feels good. So Sukha Balasana, happy baby. Make sure it's happy. And if none of the versions that I've shown of this posture are happy for you, you might try some windshield wipers if those are. Whenever you're ready, you can release that. Make your way, excuse me, up to seated. From seated, come into a tabletop position. So on your hands and knees in Varmanasana or tabletop. If being on your hands really doesn't work for your wrists, you could do this standing, or you could take your blocks and place those under your hands so that your weight will shift more towards your lower body and more into your knees. It's up to you. So once you find a comfortable way to be in tabletop, Drop your stomach towards the floor, maybe tilt your chin up and come into cow or Bitalasana. And then when you're ready, start to arch through your back, tuck your tail, bring your chin towards your chest, and come into cat or Marjariyasana. And then take a few moments to explore moving between cat and cow. Make sure you're moving at your own pace, looking for that balance between effort and ease. When you're ready, come back to a neutral spine. And if downward dog works for you, curl your toes under and send your hips up and back into a downward dog. If downward dog doesn't work for you, that's totally fine. You can make your way up into a standing position and come into a forward fold. So if you're in downward dog, start walking your hands towards your feet and come into your forward fold. And if forward fold with your head hanging down doesn't work, you could come into a half forward fold with a flat back, knees bent, forearms resting on your knees. From your forward fold, either come up with a flat back or roll your spine up, starting from the bottom, slowly, one vertebra at a time. Awesome. And once you're standing up, sweep your arms up, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. You might tilt your head back a little and look up. Really ground through your feet and stretch up through your fingertips. Maybe stretch a little more through your left fingertips so you get a little bit of a side stretch. And then a little more through your right. Once you're back at center, you can drop your hands. And if rolling down works for you, slowly roll your spine back down into a forward fold. And if it doesn't, you can come down with a flat back to the degree that works for you. Once you're here in your forward fold, you can stay in this forward fold, or you could toe heel your feet a little wider, maybe angling your toes out. And if it works for you, you might drop your hips down into a low squat, maybe placing a block under your butt for support. If hanging out in that low squat without the support doesn't work for you, sometimes it's more comfortable with a block under your butt. So either option, exploring the forward fold or low squat malasana. And if you're in this low squat, you might bring your elbows to the inside of your thighs and press a little bit your thighs into your elbows and your elbows into your thighs. See if you can find some space, some length in your spine, a little bit of ease. And sometimes our heels don't like to touch the ground here. It's fine to be up on your toes. And if you're down in this low squat, come up, maybe just reaching up with your arms as you come up. If you're in your forward fold, maybe come up with a flat back, reach your arms up, maybe stretch a little more through your left fingertips, and then a little more through your right. Come back to center, press your palms together, and bring them down in front of your chest. Pause for a moment here. So as you're pressing your hands together, grounding your feet into your mat, take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Maybe take a couple of really deep breaths. You might inhale through your nose and then sigh it out through your mouth. You can release your hands. Drop your chin to your chest. Maybe try a couple of little arcs, drawing your chin up towards one shoulder, back down, and then up to the other shoulder. A couple of times. And then bring your head back to center. From here, you can either reach your arms up and then fold forward with a flat back into your attanasana or forward fold, or you can start by rolling your spine down, dropping your chin to your chest, and coming down slowly, vertebra by vertebra. And if you're in a full forward fold with your head hanging down, you might consider gently shaking your head yes and no a few times just to see that your neck is relaxing. Your knees can be soft. And then either roll your spine up or sweep your arms up and come up with a flat back. Once you're up, stretch your arms up. Reach a little more through your left fingertips and then your right. Come back to center, press your palms together and bring them back down. Take another little pause here. If you want to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to. Just notice what you're feeling. And then you can release your hands. And if you're not facing your screen, you can face your screen. We're just going to do a couple of little balancing postures. So I'm going to offer a couple of different options. The first one is, and you can place a hand at a wall or someplace for balance if that helps support you. But the first one is bring all of your weight into your left leg, bend your right knee, and take hold of that foot. Aim your knee down towards the ground and see if you can find a little stretch in the front of your thigh. So if you don't like that or that doesn't work for you, you could try tree pose, where you turn your knee out And you can either keep your toes on the ground, or you could place your toes on a block, or you could bring your foot somewhere along the inside of your standing leg. So whatever version of balancing posture you've chosen here, see if it's possible to keep a little bit of softness in that standing knee and breathe with some ease. And another way to bring some softness in is to come out of the pose whenever you need to. You don't have to force yourself to do something that's not working for you. And then whenever you're ready, you can release that and try something on the opposite side. So either one of those. And if there's something you'd rather do, you can always choose that. But if you like these balancing poses, send all of your weight into your right leg, and then either bend your left leg and catch hold of that foot, or come into your version of tree pose on that side, whichever one works best for you today. And one of the things you can do in a balancing posture that's sometimes helpful is to find one spot, maybe on the floor in front of you, maybe at a wall, someplace unmoving, and just rest your gaze there. Again, if there's anywhere you notice where you're clenching or holding tension that could let go, check out wherever that is, see what can happen. And then release that whenever you're ready. And from here, take a moment to just kind of step your feet apart, soften through your knees, soften through your whole body, and just kind of bounce a little bit. And you can do this as gently or as vigorously as you like. Maybe let your hands kind of be shaken out, just loosen through your body. Really squeaky floor. I don't know if you can hear that. You might kind of bobble your head around if that works for you. Maybe take some really deep inhales and sigh them out through your mouth. And then take your time coming back to stillness and make your way down onto your mat. So have a seat. And if you have a cushion or some blocks, you might boost your hips up. Bring your legs out in front of you. And then keeping your right leg straight, bend your left knee. And see if you can sit up tall here. So does your back start to round here? Sometimes boosting up with a few more cushions can help, or sometimes just kind of shimmying yourself up so you have the support of a wall behind your back can be helpful. But once you're here, you can bring your fingertips to the floor and decide where your foot wants to be. So you can keep it on this side of your leg and kind of move it out or move it in wherever feels right. Or if it works for you, you might step it over your opposite leg. And just notice if you do that and it's not comfortable, you don't have to keep it there. Wherever you are, bring your right hand kind of around your left knee, lengthen up through your spine, and begin to twist your spine towards the left. You can walk that left hand behind you. You might consider looking over your back shoulder. And as you're here in the spinal twist, just notice, are you tending to force yourself into something uncomfortable? If so, soften a bit. Check in with your breath and make sure you're breathing fully. Now unwind and switch sides. So legs out in front of you. Bend your right leg this time. Place that foot on the floor. And either keep that foot on the inside of your extended leg or step it over to the outside, whichever one is going to work for you. Make sure you're really honoring your body. And bring your left hand around your right knee, your right hand behind you, and then twist towards the right, maybe looking over your right shoulder. You might think about consciously slowing your breath here a little bit, maybe taking slightly longer exhales than inhales. When you're ready, unwind, come back to center, and then decide what position you would like to take Shavasana in. So you might lie down on your back and just allow your arms and legs to kind of flop out to the side. Or if that's not comfortable for you, you might just sort of sit in seated meditation. Whatever is going to be restful for you. So you want it to be restful and as comfortable as possible. And you can close your eyes for Shavasana, or you can just soften your gaze a little bit. But take a couple of minutes to see if you can let go of your thoughts and rest. And remember that your thoughts won't stop coming. It's just a matter of noticing if you're following them somewhere and then letting them go. Notice if you're following your thoughts somewhere. Let them go and come back to the present. You might deepen your breath a little bit here. Maybe start to find a little movement. Take your time making your way out of Shavasana. Find some other position. Go ahead and do that. And wherever you are, take a moment to see if you can find a reason to appreciate yourself. And again, as always, something specific, like a real reason to thank yourself. See if you can offer yourself that appreciation and really accept it. Thanks for practicing with me today.